This is hilarious. Now, my face may look like I just sent a text message saying LMAO, but I'm dying on the inside in a good way because I like watching my wife suffer, and that suffering is what gets me motivated to go about my day after laughing until I can't breathe. But really, you'll just have to believe me. When you think comedy anime, the first thing that comes to your mind is probably Nichijou, but you shouldn't because that show isn't funny. And what it should be instead is Konosuba, the instant classic, because Konosuba is one of those shows that just gets you. It's one of those things that when it aired 7 years ago, I've been touching my penis to the same woman for 7 years, and if that's not love, I don't know what it is, other than crippling depression. It's one of those things that whenever you watched it, you immediately knew it'd go down as a classic alongside shows like this Bad Robot one and Space Cowboys, and I'd honestly say you're 100% correct in believing so because no other show has yet to give me braless women, and that's a goddamn shame. I love my women when they're dumb and awful. I'm sorry to the 10% watching, I'm probably going somewhere with this because that means they're being true to themselves, and in an anime that's driven purely by how entertaining its characters can be and how well their dynamic works together, that's much more important than just being a dollar store waifu who checks some weaves boxes for him to jerk off to, because I'd rather jerk off to a strong woman like Sylvia. The joke here is that she's got a penis, and that's hot. Losers may think that waifus who are crude, rude, gross, and have saggy titty, did I mention how mesmerizing that is, are bad, but a real man like myself, really you'll just have to believe me, finds that to be what separates a great character from a limp-dicked one, and it's these degenerate, real character qualities that have these waifus standing the test of time for almost a decade now. Honestly, that alone is enough to make it a classic, but Konosuba excels at taking these awful characters, putting them in hilarious situations, and then turning it into a comedy because they naturally react in selfish and dumb ways that just land them in worse situations than they were in before. Cause they're fucking stupid. Look, the comedy's great, don't get me wrong. The show knows the best objective way to tell a joke, but anyone can do that, and humor itself is subjective. So what this brilliant, chest-patting show does is connects you deeply with these awful people because really, that's just how I'd act in another world. No, I agree, beat her ass. And that itself allows for the comedy to land more consistently because you're now all they're just like me for real, which if you look like this, then let me know. But the adaptation for the show, you know, the anime staff and all that, take it a step further by making them as dumb as humanly fucking possible and as memeable as humanly possible. And there's a lot of bore stuff too, if you're into that. It definitely looks like bad animation at first, but it's anything but. Like, look at these fucking... fucking awesome, yet at the same time, they can make them look like these dumb, blobby creatures that allow for unique animation and storyboards to be used without the worry of staying on model, which in part leads to such exceptional animation in the first place, but they also make them look extra fuckable at the same time. Like, name me one other show where you see this and then unzip your pants in anticipation of the hot, stinky, sweaty jerk-off session you're about to have. Well, nope, that's a good argument. Fuck me, am I right? It's the dynamic that's most important. This guy always looking like a badass seasoned adventurer, but actually doing nothing is funny, but the group torturing Aqua is fucking hysterical. There's a spinoff that's already out about Megumin, and it's probably funny because she's bullying Union, but it's never gonna be as good as the original because there's no one to bully her. No Kazuma to call her out, molest her, and maybe get a little Joe Biden with her. Smell good, little girl. The dynamic is important, and that's what helps sell the show, with the dumb good animation and the lovable characters that made me check Instrumentai 3 times during this video being equally as important. It's when these things all come together, however, in one cohesive circle, that they come to make one of the best comedy anime in existence. God damn, they even made the flat titty sag. That's going in the fetish book. Don't get me wrong, you can make a show without these things that still looks good, but you just get urusei yatsura, and no one wants that. Look, she's wearing a bra. Boo, what a whore. Really, when you think about it objectively, there's nothing bad about this anime. Okay, well, I guess the pacing does kind of suck at times, but whenever it's not making me bust a gut, it's shoving demonetizable titty in my face of all body types, and I'm a simply placatable man. The show hinges on comedy, though, so if you have shit taste for whatever reason and don't find it funny, which isn't my problem, then you're probably not gonna enjoy it, is what you thought I'd say. But here, take this titty slapping scene. Seems like a normal, horny, funny Totoellini Saturday night, until you realize that they're doing it in the shop of one of the Demon Lord generals, and Kazuma later in this OVA gets caught in one of the inventions of another Demon Lord general, I think. I don't know, I didn't fact check this shit. And that leads to good fun, but while you're laughing, crying, and then flicking the bean a couple hours later, that was for the 10%. There's a goddamn ambulance outside, I'll wait. Yeah, no, Konosuba's funny, but domestic violence is a lot funnier. And that leads to good fun, but while you're laughing, crying, and then flicking the bean a couple hours later, that was for the 10%, you never stop to realize that, holy shit, that was good writing. They took down 2 of the generals in 1 season and you didn't even notice, and wait, holy shit! Chris is Eris, and they dropped that hint in several dialogues before extrapolating further in Darkness's arc in season 2. But Eris has big tits! Eris pads are just. See, it's not a joke. It may be veiled as one, but it's actually relevant and pertinent information that ties into the story as a whole, and it does this all the time. By the time the movie ends, they've already killed 2 Demon Lord generals, sadly, and befriended the other 2, and Kazuma can now take on the Demon Lord, and it all happened in the background while you were too busy wondering if Darkness is the kind of girl you have to pretend to grate but not enjoy it, and just pretend like the nut came from looking in the mirror because you could never come to such a trifling hole. Maybe I thought that through a little too well. The point is, it's not just one thing that makes this show good, it's a lot of things, and that's the making of a great show, of a classic. It's deeper than you think. Now give me 900,000 views, and that's what makes it so good, that it's able to craft likable and relatable characters that push boundaries into hilarity, put those characters into situations that make you bust a gut nut while simultaneously solving the plot as it goes, and hide foreshadowing and hilarious recurring gags. It's a unity between the staff of the anime and the author of the series, where the author wrote some fire shit and the staff went, yeah, we're gonna animate the fuck out of that cunny. And that's why it's a goddamn instant classic, just like this video here.